There will be no more peaceful demonstrations. There were women and children, Laura, and they rode them down. That's a quote. That's a quote from one of my favorite movies that came out in 1965 called Dr. Zhivago. And the person, the character saying that phrase was Pasha. He was a young Bolshevik. And he organized people and they had a peaceful demonstration, and the Tsar sent his troops out and massacred a bunch of peaceful protesters. We're basically in a similar situation with January 6th. People were unhappy with their government. You could say rightfully or not, but they were. The president called them to Washington to protest. They did. The majority of people were peaceful. There were no guns. No one was killed, again, except for the protester, Ashley Babbitt. But in the wake of that, a lot of people were persecuted, way more than typical crimes that you see in the United States. Right now, we live in a society where certain people can get away with murder and there's no penalty. But for trespassing, they put people in solitary confinement without accessing a lawyer. In the United States, this is where we are right now. As you heard, Donald Trump was indicted for what happened on January 6th. I predicted this in my prediction video. Sadly, I was right. This is a bullshit charge. Trump, whatever you think about him, and I have my qualms about him, but he did nothing illegal. He just invited people to protest what he thought was a fraudulent election. That's his right. That's any American's right. And people came to Washington. They went to the White House to protest, and they protested at the Capitol. Never did he tell his people, storm the Capitol. In fact, it was the opposite. He told everyone to be peacefully. Now, some people did go into the Capitol, and they were arrested. But Trump never told anyone to do that. So this is a violation of the First Amendment, the right to assemble. But that's the point. That's the point, isn't it? The regime is making it very clear there will no more be peaceful demonstrations. And you guys on the right, you have to understand that. You can no longer do this half-ass. And that's what the character in Dr. Zhivago was saying. It's like, no, we're no more just going to go out there and get massacred. And this is where we are in America. So if Trump gets indicted, people on the right, do not go out and protest. We can't do these protests anymore. They're illegal, and they will set you up. The secret police, FBI will throw you in jail. You may not even get a lawyer. You won't get a fair trial. Don't do that. Peaceful protests are no longer allowed in America. We gotta look at other options at this point. The regime has forced that upon us. This is where we are in America. It's a very dark day. I never thought I'd see this day. I've been in America now 60 years, and this just amazes me. We're at this point where a corrupt president, and let's be honest, President Biden is the most corrupt man I've ever seen in office. There's good evidence he took $10 million worth of bribes from Ukraine and China in order to change policy. That is treason, and the penalty for treason is death. And he's doing this, he's flouting it, he doesn't give a shit. And instead of dealing with this issue, they're attacking he and his regime. He doesn't know because he's a fucking imbecile. The regime and the people around him are attacking Trump. They're attacking Trump, their number one opposition. This is beyond banana republic. This is tyrannical. And so they probably will arrest Trump, and he probably will go to prison. It's a kangaroo court. And the question is, at this point, is what should be our response? Well, number one, if Trump is not going to be running in the election, if the Republicans remove him from the ballot, or if he's removed from the ballot, you go fuck your election. I don't give a fuck about your little bullshit fake elections. At this point, it's all fake. I mean, just ask Tel Aviv who should be our president at this point. Just cut out the middleman. There's no need to play this little game of elections. Just let them decide who our president is going to be. I'm not going to be a part of it. So I don't give a shit if it's DeSantis or Hutchison or whoever. I don't really, what difference does it make? It's all fake at this point. We're not a free country. We can't have free elections. They're putting in jail political opponents for exercising a First Amendment right. This is where we are in America, and there's no coming back from this. This is a very dark day. This is, I think, fundamentally ended this country. And another thing, I'd really encourage you guys, again, remain legal, and more than legal, because you have to understand you can't now even protest under this regime, but you have to now understand that these people, they're just not the political opposition. They are enemies of the United States. So people that control Biden, they hate Americans, they hate you, they hate everything that this country stood for, and they're after you. And they're not playing around. They're doing by any means necessary. Laws, screw the laws. They don't give a damn about the law. They'll do whatever. And we got to start adopting that mindset too, that we're not going to play nice with these people. We're not going to give them a benefit of the doubt. When we get a chance, right now they got their foot on our throats. We got to reverse it. If we ever get power, we've got to put our foot on their throats and never let up. Never let them get in power again. We have to learn this lesson. And guys, please, if you're older, don't quit flying the American flag at this point. The country's gone. It's just stupid. Quit trying to pretend that country doesn't exist anymore. I don't. It was a good run, but it's over. This is just how it is, and this has to be our attitude going forward. And I'm not being black-pilled. I'm not being pessimistic. I think one day I really do something great will come out of this. But we're in a dark time now, and we have to understand that, and we have to be smart, because I guarantee you, Biden regime and his secret police, FBI, they're probably going around now trying to stir up trouble once Trump gets arrested and encourage their confidential informants. They're going to be on 4chan, they're going to be in all these different groups. They're going to say, yeah, we got to do something, man. We got to take it to the streets. And No, there will no more be peaceful protests. We're not going down that road. We've learned our lesson. We're going to organize in a different fashion, and we can't tolerate these confidential informants that start pushing this, because this is what they want to do, because they want to have the dragnet come down and arrest whoever they can. No, we gotta be underground. We gotta be smart how we attack, and none of this half-ass stuff. We really need to have a vision of what America means going forward. And we can't return to the old America, but we can build something new. So don't consider this regime legitimate. It's not a legitimate regime. You have no loyalty to this government. This government, they're only in power, I think, illegally, and they're able to enforce it because they have the guns and they're willing to kill you. But that's it. That gives them power, but it doesn't give them legitimacy or authority. It's not valid. And in your minds, you have to break your conditioning of that. So this is how we go forward. So keep your cool. Don't do anything illegal. Don't even do legal things like public protests, because again, they'll just figuratively mow you down again and throw you in prison. We got to be smart how we approach this regime. Now the good thing, this regime is very decrepit and old and incompetent, and it's starting to implode on itself. We have a crisis of competency because of all these diversity mandates. They can't run the country anymore. It's all crumbling really, really quick. We need to be watching. We need to keep ourselves aware, and we got to keep the eye on the ball and not be suckered into any traps. This is really, really key at this point. But don't give them any legitimacy, especially if they have a sham election. Fuck their sham elections. I'm not going to be a part of it. If it's going to be like Biden versus Tim Scott or Asa Hutchinson or whoever, Nikki Haley, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that scam. They can do their fake elections elsewhere. I'm not interested. That country is gone. We got to recognize the reality. Talk to you guys later.